Hi, good morning. This is Vaughan at West Bell Pottery. I'm just going to do a quick video this morning of showing you how to facet some of those T-balls I showed you taken out of the kiln yesterday. So it'll be a quick video, just spontaneous. Anyway, oh no, my two cats are eating. Sorry about the the company. Anyway, I've shown throwing these on the videos before, but this is just a basic T-ball shape. And I vary it. I make some tall and thin, and I do some a little bit more rounded and all that. And you can play with these shapes because they're actually really fun. I love making these. But anyway, the seagulls are outside the window, which is why my cat's looking out the window there. So I have from the dollar store, which I'm sure you have something similar where you are, these little potato peelers, and they were $1 just about. So so one has a serrated edge and one is just a straight edge, and I've learned over the number of times I've done these that it's good to have it sitting up on something. So a roll of tape, this is duct tape, or any kind of clear tape where the foot sits inside, but the outer edge of the ball just sits on the actual roll of tape, is a really good way of keeping it even. And so just make sure you got nothing dry on your little cutting tool, because it goes down and it hits the actual roll of tape, so you know exactly when it's finishing and it's even. Before I used to do it just like this and run right off the piece, but I found that works too, but I found that this seems to be a little better. So you've got to aim it, and the timing has to be perfect. These things are no longer bendable, but they're not dry. So if you let it get too dry, it'll blunt your tool as well. But anyway, so they're just what we call leather hard. All right, so you aim it just at the rim and you cut down just like that. So I don't try going over the rim, and I try and keep it even. And when you throw these on the wheel, I can throw really thin, but I try not to when I'm doing these, because I have to leave myself a little bit of thickness so I don't go through, because you are taking off a millimeter or something, maybe more. I've never measured it, but I have never gone through one of these either, so maybe it's not that easy to go through. And being even is almost impossible. I have a little gap there from the last one, but you can see it gives you a really nice even fluting area where the glaze sort of tends to break off the edges and settle into the gullies, and then I dry them upside down. So now I'll try the serrated edge. It leaves a slight pattern. I hope you can see closely here, but anyway, this has like a tooth to it. And this really does make the glaze sit in those hollows, especially if you use a slightly transparent glaze. Opaque glazes are not really good for anything like this. I've got to be careful because I'm going to end up with right there. And then rub your fingers over the edge just to make sure there's no sharp edges. I'm not sure how focusing this. It looks like it's focused pretty good. All right. So I'll do a couple more, and then I'm going to trim them. I'll show you the trimming too. So let's do the serrated one again. This one's a touch softer than the other one. yeah, my early morning studio time is spent cleaning up my mess from my two older cats. These cats are quite old, 14 years old, and Poobel's only 10, 11, but apparently my vet called them geriatrics when I took them to the vet. And then they eat and drink all the time, and therefore they poop all the time. So I've got a lot of litter boxes I have to clean up too when I first get here in the morning. They spend the whole night here, so they're not allowed outside. We're right on the water, so they'd be fighting mink. We have mink nests right under the building. I didn't introduce myself properly at the beginning, in case they were a first-time viewer. This is Vaughan Smith at Westcote Bell Pottery in Canada, so westcotebellpottery.ca. And I'm on Facebook too under my name Vaughan Smith, and also Westcote Bell Pottery. I've done Pinterest, but I'm not really good at posting on that regularly. Alright. It's early morning, so basically the light's coming through the side really low down, so that might be good light to show these. There you go. This is not taking too long, so I'll do a couple more so you can get the idea. It's about just being even. And you can also experiment by doing diagonal cuts. I've done that in the past as well. It's a little harder to do the diagonal cut and be even as well. And I don't know why, but this tool had little pieces of plastic, and I think they must be some sort of guide for peeling potatoes evenly. So I ground them off. They were on the corner of these tools there and there, so I just ground them off with sandpaper. Alright, so basically the groove one again. This one's much softer. So when they're soft, the trimming actually sticks to the blade a little bit, so that's the only thing that seems to be a negative about this. So timing it is pretty important, but you can still do it, so it takes a bit longer because I have to pull the piece off because it sticks to the tool. One of my viewers on Facebook, on YouTube, just told me that Phil Rogers died in England. I hope that not to be the case, but anyway, that's a shame. If nobody knows, if somebody doesn't know who Phil Rogers is, he's a really good potter in Wales, in England, and he shows his work through goldmark.com. It's called goldmarkart.com, I think, that website. But you can see Phil Rogers' work. He's a wood-fired, well, was a wood-fired potter. But anyway, let's take you over and do some trimming, because I've got lots of these to do here. And I'll show you how to trim. I could show you how to do it the hard way and the easy way. Let's see. I have little tables on wheels that make it good in the studio to get things around. I have done videos on trimming before. I'm gonna let that ring, but There you go. My wife picked up the phone. Alright, so this is a Giffin grip trimming, which a lot of people don't like because it makes trimming easy. Alright. Okay, should explain this a little bit, I guess. Let's get you really close. Okay, a Giffin grip has the grooves on the back and it fits over the top of the wheel head and it rotates so that those actually go in and out and center your piece of pottery. And if you want to do it, you can take these off, turn them around to grip plates as well. So, but these ones are meant for little arms. So you judge the height of your piece with these arms that you slot in. And then when you turn your wheel on, you can do this carefully by doing that. Or if you are a bit of a beginner, you should probably do it by hand, by holding the bottom disc and rotating the top disc so that it actually goes in and out slowly. Because you can crush your pot if you make that go in too fast. Alright, and then it just spins. So let's do one that I just faceted. So here you go. So gently grip it. And I just faceted this one, so whether it's going to grip on there completely evenly won't really matter too much. It's just got a slight wobble, so I'm just going to rotate it just a touch. So let's see if I can get rid of, yeah, that got rid of it. Just that it's hot, you know, you change the shape, it's not completely round when you facet. Okay, well, let's put the light on. Alright, so I like these trimming tools. It's a Kemper trimming tool. What number is it? R2 it's called. And then you just trim the rough stuff gently off so it gets it fairly smooth. Same on the side, just knock off a little bit just so it's a bit smoother. And then you do your real trimming. I always rest my elbows on my legs so I've got some stability to me, and then just kind of hit the bumps. You don't want to glide over the surface, you're trying to hit the high points. And once you've done that a couple of times, it will find its level and be smooth all the way around. Knowing that how thickly you throw your pieces is important too, so don't trim too far, otherwise you'll go through. And then basically knock off the sharp point again. And I put a little groove in these just there, so that'll catch the glaze as well. And then knock off the sharp points, the little high points there. I like to put a little groove right at the shoulder. And then if you have a, I don't know whether you can, this is called, I call it juddering, but other people have different names for it. But you can make it go full speed and then it vibrates. And you can give yourself that texture. And then you've refined the bottom of your piece a little bit. Let's do another one. There we go. Same again. Place it on. That's pretty close already, but you can try just moving it a bit and it might even be more centered. No, that went out a little bit more. That's a bit better, I think. So same again. I usually knock the rough areas off. Just lightly, just to get rid of any rough area. And then I rest my elbow, and using 2 hands, I try to aim for just holding it above the surface until it touches and knock the high points off. And then when you feel like you don't have any irregularities, you can just go backwards and forwards. Just to hollow out the center area a little bit. If you've left a lot of thickness, you can actually make a real hollow area in there. Because I glaze inside that circle area sometimes. And then you've got it down. Because I throw so thin, I don't have to trim much off. Putting the groove in there. And then this area here, I don't need to do because that's thin already. And I just put that groove in there. And then the other way I often do for my pieces is using the rounded end. I will flute. So instead of that juddering, I will flute. The juddering name I made up myself. It's called chattering. And that's also a nice way of giving yourself a texture to put that glaze over on the bottom. There you go, I'll do one more. So first, that one's centered straight away. Just knock off the rough stuff. And then rest your elbow on your knee or your thigh. And then go deeper. You've got to know how thick your foot is, so you'll have to get that through experience. So try and throw pots that have a little thicker foot, because it's quite easy to go through, especially if the clay is quite dry. If the clay is a little soft when you're trimming, you'll push it in before going through. There you go. And then the same down the side. Knock off the rough till it's even. I put the groove in, you don't have to do that. And then you basically make that line there. And then another way of doing it is to kind of go down. This takes a bit more. I've never been fast at doing the down, which is why I always do the angled one. But the bottom of a piece is important. Whenever anybody picks up a handmade piece of pottery, they always look at the whole thing, the top, the bottom, and everything. So I've always felt it's nice if you make the bottom important by doing something down there. All right. And there you go. All right, let's see. Okay, so I hope you all have a great Christmas. It's Christmas tomorrow, so enjoy, stay safe, and then, you know, we're all looking forward to a very bright new year. We're going to have a really big storm tomorrow. It's supposed to be 90-kilometer winds with high tides and everything as well. So, but so this is Vaughan Smith at westcoastpottery.ca in Nova Scotia, Canada, saying have a great Christmas and stay safe. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.